morning. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you on behalf of the Zion taxing bodies for coming out this morning. My name is Sherry Neal. I am the Zion Township Supervisor. I'd also like to introduce the members of the committee that are here today. We have David Nabel, who is the City Finance Director, Dr. Chris Clark, the Superintendent of Zion-Benton Township High School District 126, Marilyn Krieger, the Executive Director of the Zion Park District, Bill Hartman, who is the President of the Park District Board, Larry Wicketts, who is the Zion Township Assessor, and Pastor Mike McDowell, who is Zion City Commissioner over Fire and Police. I'd also like to take a moment to thank our State Senator Melinda Bush and our State Representative Sherry Jessel for being here today with us also. Next, I'd like to introduce our Mayor, Al Hill, who will share with you what we're trying to do and how we intend to do it.
Thank you. Thank you. First, I want to thank all of you for joining us as we announce a cooperative effort in seeking compensation for the Zion community as a result of our being placed in the unenviable position of acting as a nuclear spent fuel rod storage facility. Each of the local taxing bodies that have joined together in this endeavor has a storage facility within their respective boundaries. This includes the City of Zion, Zion Township, Zion Elementary District 6, Zion-Benton High School District 126, Zion-Benton Library District, and the Zion Park District. This is not the first time we've been forced to do something like this. In the late 70s and 80s, under the leadership of Chuck Paxton from the Zion Park District and Dr. Gene Latz from the Zion Elementary District 6, the taxing bodies joined forces to fight Commonwealth Edison and Edison's efforts to reduce their tax responsibility towards the local communities. This dispute centered on Commonwealth Edison's efforts to reclassify real and personal property. The case was eventually decided by the Illinois Supreme Court. We won, and by winning, saved millions of dollars for local taxpayers. At this point, I think a little history is in order. The facility you see behind me was constructed between 1968 and 1973. It was licensed by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in 1973 and operated from 1974 through 1998. In 1968, nuclear power was a new technology that was to provide low-cost electric power. This was good for Zion, good for Lake County, good for Illinois, and good for the entire country. The City of Zion cooperated with Commonwealth Edison in this exciting new adventure. People of Zion understood that locating the power plant within the community and along the shores of our beautiful Lake Michigan would entail some costs. There was an understanding that the community would give up over 400 acres of lakefront property. An understanding that there would be an eyesore on the lakefront that could never be hidden. An understanding that recreational access for visitors as well as local citizens would be severely inhibited. An understanding that economic development opportunities associated with the lakefront would also be severely inhibited. These are the same economic development opportunities that have been exploited by lakefront communities extending from Chicago to Milwaukee. In exchange for the costs, there was also an understanding that the Zion community would benefit from locating the power plant here. There was an understanding that Zion would benefit from the jobs created by the plant, an understanding that each taxing body would receive significant tax dollars from the increased equalized assessed valuation. An understanding that when the operating license of the plant expired, these 400 acres would be returned to the pristine condition and the property returned for development purposes. That was the deal. Unwritten, but that was the deal. Now fast forward to today. There was never an understanding that once the plant closed, the Zion community would play host to a radioactive dump that contains 2.2 million pounds. And I'll say that again, 2.2 million pounds of nuclear spent fuel rods. That was not part of the deal. I speak for all of us when I say we do not want to be a storage facility for radioactive waste. So what's to be done? Someone needs to either get the fuel rods out of here or compensate the community for becoming a de facto interim fuel storage facility. With the 2010 scuttling of the Yucca Mountain program, we are not naive enough to believe that the rods will be removed. We therefore believe we should be compensated. We also believe that the federal government should do the compensating. In 1982, Congress enacted the Nuclear Waste Policy Act, which was intended to begin the process of disposing of nuclear waste. As part of the act, a small fee was added to electric bills intended to pay for the disposal of spent fuel at nuclear power plants. The fee was small, 1/10 of a cent for every kilowatt hour generated by a nuclear plant, which totaled 15 to 20 cents on an average monthly electric bill. Total up those tiny fees and you get a lot of money. In 2014, the fund had grown to $40 billion, with interest growing at $1.3 billion per year. The 1982 Nuclear Waste Policy Act contains a section entitled Interim Storage Fund. This section references impact assistance, which says that, and I paraphrase, the Secretary shall make annual payments to a state or appropriate unit of local government, or both, in order to mitigate social or economic impacts occasioned by the establishment and subsequent operation of an interim storage capacity within the jurisdictional boundaries of such government. Impact assistance could be as high as $15 per kilogram of spent fuel. Payments made to states and units of local government pursuant to this section shall be allocated in a fair and equitable manner with a priority to those states or units of local government suffering the most severe impacts. I can't imagine any other units of local government located anywhere in the country that will suffer more severely than the Zion area communities. We're talking about Lake Michigan, lakefront property that is valued at a fraction of its fair market value because of 2.2 million pounds of radioactive waste stored on the shoreline. We understand that parts of the Nuclear Waste Policy Act do not apply at this date and time. However, the intent of the 1982 federal legislation is clear. The communities will suffer social and economic impacts if they are designated as interim storage facilities, and that they should be compensated. We call on our state and federal legislators to assist us and do everything in their power to make the Zion communities whole, as we are a de facto interim storage facility. It is our hope that federal legislation can be proposed and adopted prior to October 2016 during the second session of the 114th Congress. The last time the taxing bodies joined forces to protect the local taxpayers, we prevailed. Once again, we intend to prevail. With the assistance of our state and federal legislators, we feel our taxpayers will once again be protected for the long term. I want to both congratulate and thank all of the officials of the taxing bodies that are supporting this effort. Our individual actions have been less than effective. I am confident that presenting a united front, which represents thousands and thousands of voters, is our best course of action. Thank you. Are there any questions? Thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming out.
Thank you.
We look forward
Thank
to
you
the
all.
celebration when this actually takes place.
Absolutely. Obviously.